Have you ever walked into a room and you had some intention of getting something or doing something when you walked into the room, and then you started to think about it for a second and you said, why did I come in here? And you really honestly had no idea why you did. So you turn around and you come back, you go into where you were, and then you come back into that room again, and you might remember then. But that's a sign of forgetting. We're talking about memory today on our biweekly health chat. I'm Chris Jones, along with Deborah Darby and Diana Maltz, both health gurus and experts and things like that. And I just forgot what I was going to say after this. So you ladies can take it.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. Okay, so the holidays are coming up. Did you guys realize that? Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple of weeks.
They are, yeah.
And you talk to people about a lot of things that are going on in their lives that are making them sad. And did you know that that's related to brain health? It isn't so much just the occasion, what's been going on, but you can help improve your mood and your approach. You can't change the situation, but you can improve that with things we're going to talk about today, which is really exciting. It really does help in terms of that. And I think we don't want to talk about this stuff that much, the depression and all that stuff, because it's a sad thing to talk about. But it's very common, and it's really worth talking about in terms of that. The second thing I've been really aware of with people, I've been talking to a lot of people lately about this. We don't think about brain health. We think about physical health, our muscle health, our bone health, our heart health, but not brain health. Right. And there is such a thing as brain health. And as we know, that's what makes us human. And Chris reminded us that in the scary movies, the bad guys always want, the invaders always want the brain.
Brains.
Exactly, which tells you how important the brain is in general. I was adding a little levity to the discussion, right? Okay, so we're talking about brain health. How do we have brain health? And that affects not only whether you forget your keys or whether you go in the room and remember where you're going in the room, but also affects your mood. And when something happens, how resilient are you? So these are all really important things. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go a little bit more into that. And they say that after the age of 20, things start happening in your body. Our bodies change from day to day, and we don't think about that. So at 20, we start seeing a little bit of the neural connections in the brain becoming less. Mm-hmm. So what does that do? That means you forget things a little bit more. You don't really notice it as much in your 20s. Now, in your 40s, you start seeing that more often. Then you can have more poor concentration and then mood swings. Those are all parts of the whole brain health situation, the discussion we're talking about today. So that's in 45. So we want to have neural connections. So it's like telephone wires. You want all these connections that go on. And our brain, it not only affects how we think, but you know what? It affects how you move. It affects a lot of things in your body. Think about things like Parkinson's and those kind of things. That's from your brain. So this is a really great topic. It's an interesting topic. And that's kind of how I wanted to start off with that. So we're talking about neural connections to start off with. Mm-hmm. So the other thing was, okay, so what are the things to pay attention to? You want to do that, Deb?
Yeah, but first I want to say that our brains can generate new brain cells. It's called neurogenesis. And there are some key things that we're going to discuss that can replace the connections so important to memory, focus, and mental health. So the problem is most people follow the don't fix what's not broken. We always talk about prevention. We always talk about doing things earlier. Like, what if we started when we were 20 doing the things that we just talked about instead of assuming, oh, it's just because I got too much on my plate, I'm multitasking, etc. That's what the issue is. But the human brain is truly a vital organ, and it's best to look after it before issues arise. So here's some of the warning flags. Memory loss. Have you ever had memory loss?
No, never.
How about you, Chris?
What'd you just say?
Yeah. Are you in get brain fog, because that's another one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
And
usually happens when I don't get enough sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
Good point.
good
Yep.
point.
Yeah.
The other one is depression,
Sadness, anxiety.
difficulty learning,
hmm
lack of motivation. You get tired easily, your poor focus and concentration, and fatigue in response to certain chemicals or foods. Now, a lot of people, some people know that through an elimination diet, you can find out what food sensitivities you have
Yeah.
that cause some of that, um, some of those things.
Right.
So back to you, Di.
Okay, so Deb mentioned the fact that first of all, we're thinking about that we do have potential with our brains. So we used to think when I was in nursing school, we used to think that they used to tell us, do not drink alcohol because you lose brain cells.
What?
And that was it. So every time you drank something, you lost a brain cell. And that was that's kind of depressing.
Brain dead by the time you got out of there.
So that's kind of depressing. So, so science moves on. It does. And they know that there's certain things that can happen. You can have more neural connections. So that's neuroplasticity in your brain.
Mhm.
These are kind of watchwords that are talking about in the media, just so you can so you can get an idea of what we're talking about. Neuroplasticity and increasing the number of brain cells. And they all affect learning, they all affect memory, they all affect our mood. And as Deb said, these things we think about as like situational, like we say, okay, I'm tired today, and so that's why I have brain fog. Maybe it's an indication to help yourself have a stronger brain. Increase that brain muscle. We're going to talk about brain power. Okay, how to improve your brain power. How's that? I think that's a good one. And the first thing we're going to talk about is exercise. So I just talked about muscle, right? However, they said that people in their midlife, that this is a scientific research done at the Cooper Institute, which is an aerobic institution. And I studied with them. It was really interesting. But if in your midlife, they found they did like, let me just give the numbers here. It was I think 150,000, no, 19,000 people. 19,000 people. So that's a good number, right? So they tracked their exercise patterns. And in their midlife, there was 34% less dementia from doing exercise. That just like what you're doing, Chris. See, you're like, oh my God, I love how you do. I love he just take it on. He just takes it right on. So what it does, it helps with less brain loss, so brain cells. We were talking about brain cells, and also helps with keeping your cognitive abilities aware. So one of the things I teach exercise, and so as the teacher, you have to be kind of sharp, right? You got to be ahead of the class. You can't be pausing. So one of the things I noticed that was happening to me, that was what made me sort of aware that this could be happening, right?
Mhm.
Very interesting. It's just very interesting. When I made some changes, I'm back in my I'm doing a great job again. So my classes are growing and everything. So that's really good.
Good.
Anyway, so that's the first thing. The other thing is does another thing which I think is important to know about. There's a certain kind. I don't want to give you too much science, but there's a thing that helps. It's like Miracle Grow for the brain, and helps the brain make new brain cells. And exercise stimulates that because we know that there's like a lot of chemical things going on in our bodies that affect certain parts of our brain, like hippocampus, which is memory and focus. So it helps with that. So those are like two things. I'm going to think anything else about exercise. So those are the two things. It's really helps you more cognitively, helps you stay sharper, and your body, and helps with circulation. We'll talk more about circulation too. So that's exercise.
Ladies,
Yes.
we have some viewers, and I'd like to just mention that if anybody has any questions regarding memory and how to retain memory and how to keep it going or perhaps improve it, feel free to put it in the chat or however you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, or YouTube or even Twitch. We'll get them answered for you. So There you go. Continue.
Thanks.
Go ahead. And the thing is, we're really talking about lifestyle changes. Basically, it's just all lifestyle changes, and it's all scientifically backed. So just FYI.
Mm-hmm. So we're ready to go on to the second of
Yep.
okay. So eat smart. You got to take charge of your brain by taking charge of your diet. We always talk about that on here about, unprocessed foods, things like that. But one of the antioxidants, omega-3s, can they can really help you remember where you left your cell phone or your car keys, or whether or not you went into that room for things. So because your brain has 100 billion cells that are reaching out and connecting to 10,000 other cells, you do a calculation, it turns out that your brain, your unique human brain, has more connections than there are in a cubic meter in the entire universe.
Wow.
It's an incredible, it's amazing to me what this brain can do. So we want to think about two of the things that Diana talked about when you're having issues with memory is the fact of your mood. If you change your food, you can change your mood, which helps your feeding your brain. So for some of those, you want to do unprocessed foods. There is a study where kids were taken off junk food and they were put on a whole unprocessed foods. In just 6 weeks, 80% of them had improved behavior.
Wow.
Not only by their parents reporting, but by their teacher.
Wow.
And 50% of those kids no longer meet diagnostic criteria for attention deficit disorder.
Can I say something, Deb?
Yeah.
Deb is a really good example of somebody who changed her child's diet and helped him with her son with some learning issues.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking from real people, real experiences. And we've both been in this industry for you've been in how many, 24, 20?
23. It was back when I went on a journey to find an alternative for my son. I had already been giving him good, clean food. What I didn't know was certain things that, he had at his grandmother's that had food dyes and things like that were a problem for him. And each person is an individual. But what you could do is what I had done was introduce lots of leafy green vegetables like spinach, kale, broccoli, things that have a lot of color because the phytonutrients in that color helps your body. We always talk about whole grains and legumes and lentils, lots of blueberries. We're going to nickname them brain berries because blueberries are super good because they're known as flavonoids. So they improve your memory. All right, we're supposed to say may improve your memory.
May. No, it's November, not May.
Yeah. I don't
I'm not May.
For speaking something that may, or my experience is that it helps. It helps improve memory, learning, and cognitive function. That's what my personal experience is. The other thing when we're talking about eating smart is maintaining healthy blood sugar levels. So if you can keep at a stable level, you're going to have better metabolism, but it also helps your brain avoid mental issues commonly associated with anxiety, depression, fatigue. And it's really not that hard to monitor. Just do what we talked about on another one about eating, kind of monitoring when you're eating. Make sure you're not going too far away from the last meal. So say you had your breakfast at 7, have a little snack at 10 a.m., 1 o'clock have your lunch, 4 o'clock have a snack, and then 7 o'clock dinner. And you can mess with those times, but you just want to kind of make sure that you're not going for long periods of times because then your blood sugar is going up and down.
And that affects your brain.
Yep.
It affects your brain activity. And you'll notice that when you're hungry, you're not particularly nice. I don't know about you.
Yeah, they call it hangry.
My wife would attest to that.
Yeah. Don't you call it hangry, Chris?
Hangry. That's
That's
exactly what she says. That's what my wife says.
You're hangry?
Hangry.
That's a great expression. I never heard that. That's awesome.
We have a Facebook person saying hello. So hello, Melinda.
Hi, Melinda.
Hello, Melinda.
Some of the other things you can do, and this is what I do because, you know, when I'm traveling or in the car, I always keep nuts in a little bag in my car. You can bring apples, and you know how hard it is when you're driving to eat an apple. So I just cut it up ahead of time and put it in a little container. That's cute, Melinda. Your husband is always hangry.
Hangry.
Give him some food, nuts.
Feed me.
We have a whole new thing going on here. I love this.
Yeah. The other thing is grazing. Did we lose Diana?
We lost Diana.
Okay, well, I'm going to continue while she
Keep
comes
going.
back.
Keep going.
So grazing instead of gorging at meal times.
She's
Now,
back.
Thank you.
hey, Di, we're just talking about grazing instead of gorging at your meal. Have you guys ever noticed how after a full meal you find it harder to stay alert? Think about Thanksgiving, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, how many people are sleeping at the end of the day after you cooked all this food?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of foggy, right?
Yeah.
So like we said, schedule your 5 small meals a day and keep your hunger in check so that you don't have to binge on the next meal. You can always look at ways to not overeat at Thanksgiving.
Well, you can address that. I mean, we're talking about
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
health, and it relates to that. So, I mean, you got the huge, say you got 10 people or whatever at your table, and you got all this food. You got the turkey and the mashed and all the pies and everything else.
Well, you know what's easy to do is like if you say you're having people over for Thanksgiving, what I typically do is I'll have a meal shake around 10 a.m. Our life shake, because that keeps my blood sugar stable. So I'm not like picking at everything while I'm preparing Thanksgiving. And the appetizers, you can make healthy appetizers. So if you're having like cream cheese and celery with olives or anything like that,
Right.
just limit yourself. Just say, okay, I'm going to have, use little tinier plates for your appetizer. And then when it comes to your dinner, don't put the big plates out for dinner. Put smaller plates out for dinner.
Great idea.
And that way, you take a little bit of the thing. And what I personally do is I look at everything on the table first and I say, okay, what can I have? What am I going to have today that I don't usually have the rest of the year or most of the time? I'm going to have that. And I'm going to have a little bit of that. So you take care of that craving of that. And then maybe you split that piece of pie for dessert in half. You don't have to have a big piece of pie. Because really, once you eat it, and if you're mindfully eating, when you're tasting it, when it stops tasting as good as it did that first bite, stop eating it. It's not worth the calories.
Yeah.
Very good.
You don't have to deprive yourself. You can
That's right.
still have a nice meal.
That's great.
Are you having people over for Thanksgiving, Chris?
We're going to be at another location, one of my wife's family, and there likely will be a lot of food on that table.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I
just
practicing
some of those tips to see if you feel as groggy as the rest of those people.
Well, the other thing is, an hour before the meal, drink a glass of
There's
water.
a game on.
Ever tried that? Just drinking a glass of water so you're just not as hungry. I mean, just to fill you up, so you just, even that's kind of it's fooling your body in a sense. Drinking a glass of water or some tea or something is a really great way to just, like, I think the green tea that we have is a great one because it gives you a little bit of energy and no calories, and it's like really a nice thing to do before a meal, so that you're not. How do you say that? Hangry. I know. Thank you for correcting.
So before we run out of time and we don't get to the rest of them, I just do want to make sure people understand that if you can increase your intake of B vitamins, specifically B6 and B12, and omega-3 fatty acids, CoQ10 and lecithin, and vitamin E that will also help mental decline. And then Diana's going to talk about improved blood flow. But what I'm going to offer is if anyone wants to reach out to you, Chris, and they want a more deep dive and individual conversation,
Sure.
Diana and I'm happy to do it for you and really delve into their specific, because we would look at their diet. Where are they getting this? Where are they getting that? What supplements would be best for them?
You can private message me on whatever platform you're on, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or send an email. It's on the bottom of the screen, chris591@chrisjonesmedia.com, and we'll initiate the process. And this is just a conversation. It's what it is. If we're providing value for you, that's what we're doing.
Let me give you a couple of reasons why you'd want to do your B vitamins. One of it reduces brain shrinkage by 90%. Think about that. After age 50, we don't absorb B complex very well. B12, B6, any of those B vitamins. So it is crucially important. And it's also a mood vitamin. So just giving you some good reasons why you want to think about how supplementation can really help with that. And we can talk about food with that, but we do not get enough of it in our foods in order to affect our brain. And the omega-3, we have a fat brain. Our brain has a lot of fat in it. Believe it or not. So when they tell you have a fat brain, don't be insulted. That's the reality of what it is. And that really affects memory. They give pregnant women omega-3 when they're pregnant. So the babies develops more brains, better brain, and they're smarter. The kids are smarter. And lecithin, 30% of your brain, and we don't get enough lecithin. That's in healthy oils. 30% of your brain is lecithin. It's just really interesting. I just want to give you a little idea how important it is. It isn't just about supplementation. It's about helping fill in gaps of what we're not getting in our foods. And if you have symptoms, that usually means that you want to take care of that. You want to make sure that you're getting what you need.
We have a few minutes. We have a few minutes left. If you have any questions for Deborah or Diana, please let us know in the chat.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to point out is not all vitamins are created equal. I have a great free ebook. I'm happy to send that to people. It really breaks down why Diana and I and Chris chose the company that we partnered with. Me 23 years ago, Diana many more years ago, and past year, right? But Diana, do you want to talk about the improved blood flow?
Well, there's three things that are really important for the brain. I think the blood flow is. We don't think about blood flow, and the B vitamins are involved with that. I mean, a lot of these things we're talking about really affect blood flow. So we can talk. When you talk about stress, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah, check for anemia issues, exercise.
Okay. So when you think about increasing blood flow to the brain,
Brains.
And so exercise is the first one because it makes the heart pump stronger, and you get more blood to the brain. Keeping your blood sugar levels even really affects the blood flow to the brain. Huge. And I was going to mention something, Deb. When you're eating, I'm live from New York City, just so you know.
Play by play. What's happening? Where's the fire?
See. Anyway, so balancing your blood sugar really helps with the brain. So when you're eating, think about a protein, either in a carb and a fiber. So that would be like nuts and apples, not just apples, but nuts and apples, because you want to keep those. That's what's going to help keep the blood sugar level. So that we can talk more about that individually.
With almond butter, or
like when the kids, like I used to give my kids like the peanut butter and celery, that kind of thing. So just stuff like that. So you got to have protein in there because that really does stabilize. And good news about protein, it does not get stored as fat as easily. So that's what's nice about protein. So that's an aside. Okay, so anemia, blood sugar, exercise, stress.
Yep.
because so you really want to think about how to reduce your stress, in your life. And there's a number of ways to do that. But why is that really important? Because cortisol causes the brain to just go into crisis mode, which means you're reducing the circulation to the higher functions of memory and focus.
Mhm.
So you really want to do things to help with reducing stress, like meditation, exercise, community. These are all things that reduce stress. That's kind of like the summary of really what that's about.
Yeah. And then number 5 is brain training. Now, I don't know why, but my husband has decided that he likes to do the trivia every day on TV on YouTube.
Okay.
And at first I started making fun of him because we'd have company over and he'd say, okay, we're going to do a trivia. And I'm like, okay, it seems rude to turn the TV on.
And they love it, right? They love doing that.
They love it. Everybody's involved. My son gets involved. Everybody gets involved. And it does kind of like
It's memory.
Yeah. It kind of each time you learn that skill, you gain a new memory. So the neurons form new connections, create stronger neuron to neuron signals, and more powerful brain. So you actually do something, whether it's a crossword puzzle, Sudoku, a word with friends, anything that's requiring your brain to come up with an answer is good. It's really good.
So it has to be new things pretty much every day. You want to do new. That's going to make a really strong brain. That's going to make a very strong brain.
Yep.
Troubleshooting software issues works too, because that happens.
Okay, that's true. That's true, though.
For me, this morning I was editing a video as part of my other life there, and it's like, why can't I put this and make it do that? So I'm looking it up, I'm making my brain work, and I came up with a solution. So yeah,
Oh,
so
nice.
anything that makes your brain do stuff.
Yep. And my favorite, number 6, is socializing. So
you're very good at that. I'm going to say.
Well, think about it. If you travel, you're going to see people. You're going to meet new people. You could engage in other activities. If you're in a community where they have, I don't know, a card game or whatever, and you're not really that outgoing, get yourself out there, because the more you make connections, close connections with key people in your life, the better it's going to be. Do different activities like book club, cooking, dance classes, yoga, any kind of leisure activity that you like to do means you'll stick with it more. Correct. And if you can't and you're in the grocery store, say hi to somebody, have a social connection there. But it's proven that it really helps you. Or volunteer in your community.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You're not like where you're a traveler. Volunteer in your community.
I have several friends who have retired, and they two of them recently, and they both told me they want to do something in the community, and that because they want to still have that connection with people.
Right.
So that's really an important thing.
Yep.
Number 7.
Stress.
You could take that one, Di.
I know. I started my business many years and 34 years ago talking a lot about stress. I love talking about stress because it's a place where we can see a lot of change, and it can really change your health, and especially your brain health. So I was saying before how important this part of your brain back here is your survival. And if you're always stressed, if you're always having your foot on the accelerator, you get a lot of cortisol, you get less circulation to this part of the brain, which is memory, concentration, all those kind of things that really support your brain health. So some of the ways to do that is things that make you, like, for example, yoga. It makes you think while you're exercising. The other thing is meditation. It brings you back to your relaxation in your brain. Let's see what else. I think meditation is a really huge thing, terms if you can set up a practice for yourself. What I did a couple months ago, well, last year actually, is I have two friends I meditate with. It forces me. It's 5 minutes. We both do it. We do it on the phone, and it really had us really doing it. It starts your day off. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So those are.
I have some added too. I'm going to do a quick recap so that for people that are just joining us, number one is get enough exercise. Even walking just 30 minutes a day can make a big difference. Eat smart foods. We've talked about that on these health chats many times. My favorite is blueberries. And Diana talked about the other nutrients that you need, and we can give you more information on that. Improve your blood flow through exercise, managing your stress. And also, we didn't get to talk about, but we're happy to, if people have questions, is supplement with Chardonnay grape seed extract. It's an excellent extract that helps with memory. And then use products with guarana extract. That's another one.
And there was a 2-year study done with that, and it actually increased the clarity and brain, what was it called? Clarity and something else. Increase the circulation in the brain and increase clarity. This is a 2-year study using a particular product that had Chardonnay extract in it and guarana extract. Really interesting. Yeah. Really interesting.
And it's important to find products that don't focus on the caffeine aspect, and our product doesn't. Right. Number 5 is brain training. Remember the 3 Ds of core memory. Take up new hobbies, learn new things. And number 6 is socializing. Maintain those connections, especially if you retire, you need to continue those. Travel, join, help others, get on social networking sites. Dressing less, don't sweat the small stuff. Take a walk in the park and do the things you love. And reach out to us. We're happy to help you improve your memory.
I didn't talk about the simplest thing for stress is just take a breath.
Yeah.
We were talking about this the other day. Deb and I were talking about this the other day, how important it was to just take that breath. Take that deep breath.
I'm going to make a transcription of this episode, this live broadcast, available if anybody wants it. And Deb, what was that document you were mentioning earlier that you could get to people?
Well, I actually have 2. One is, look at that. One, I was just kidding. One is on how to choose the right supplement. And that's an ebook. And then I believe I have an ebook to look on memory. So either one of those, but they'd have to reach out to you and get connected with me.
So that's basically 3 different things. So I can get you a transcript of this and those 2 things Deb just mentioned, all by simply contacting me right here.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris591 at chrisjonesmedia.com, or just private message me on either LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or Twitter, wherever you're watching right now. I'll find a few more in there somewhere. Parlor? No, that's not. I'm not on Parlor.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, really. Enjoy your families.
You want to let them know about our next?
Yes.
When is that?
The 16th? Did you say?
December 16th. It's a Thursday.
Right.
And we're going to talk about the 6 ways to have
a cleanse.
A healthy cleanse. Because of all the stuff that you're doing at Thanksgiving, and we want to get you ready for success for the new year. 2022 is going to be fantastic. We want to get you on a health journey. So we'll talk about that on the 16th.
December 16th, right in the middle between Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the New Year's stuff. And then you can get all set up to be like psyched up and rocking and rolling in 2022.
Absolutely.
Yep. And it's at 1:00, right?
Yeah, we'll do 1:00 on December 16th. It'll be publicized before that. It'll be promoted.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much, Chris.
It's been very informative today. You always provide so much value.
Thank you.
And I always get you to do this. And Deb,
I know you do. You do.
And you better. That's my right hand.
Hold it up a little. There you go. You got to put your thumb out, Deb, if you can.
Okay.
It's close enough. That's good. And Diana has it perfectly. So live long.
I'm an
and
exercise
prosper.
teacher. I'm an exercise teacher.
She can get it.
Yeah, live long
I'm
and
double
prosper.
jointed. It's harder for me.
Live long and prosper.